Okay, so because you and I are both
of an age.
pundits,
Pundits,
commentators,
right, yeah.
let's have a little kind of review of 24. We're going to start right at the very start. Mark Selby won the Championship League. Do you enjoy the Championship League?
Yeah, I commentate on it. We play on Rassens.
Do you?
Yeah.
I did play in it before I retired when it was at Crondon Park.
Oh, that was a great venue, wasn't it? Crondon Park, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a great venue, but I mean, it's
Didn't you?
because I won about 3 matches out of 27.
Probably came at the wrong time of the year for you. I might be in it this season in the invitational one.
Okay.
Because my ranking, I'm still sort of ranked 43 or something. I don't know.
And is it still you get great shot? You still get money for centuries and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Because it used to be the stage where you didn't want to qualify for the final one straight away. You wanted to keep playing and keep
that's right.
racking up the pound notes.
It's the same thing. If you finish in the top 5, you're always in the next group.
Right.
But if you win it, you go into the winners group.
Yeah.
You get £100, don't you, for every frame won?
Right.
And if you get the highest break of the whole thing, you get £500 for the highest break. But I don't think you get 100 for a century break that you make. You don't get anything for that.
Okay. So when did it, like, so Selby won it, so when did the top players come into it?
They pick and choose that then they're sort of already nominated to be in a certain group.
Right.
And sometimes if there's a certain tournament coming up at a certain time, that the top players say, do you mind if I change groups and play in a different group? Then somebody will get a phone call saying, blah, 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 wants to come in at a later stage. Okay. Do you want to go in group 3 or wherever it'll be? So it sort of works like that, really. Because
I'd imagine the one that Selby won was in, obviously, early New Year, 24.
Yeah.
And obviously the Masters was coming up, so you think the top players, it's good match practice? I'm not saying the top, for everyone it's good match practice, but obviously players that are playing in the Masters the following week, maybe they want a bit
Absolutely true, exactly that, yeah. If you've got a big tournament coming up, and the top players will love that for a bit of match practice, won't they?
Yeah. I need to stop saying top players, all the other players will get upset. We're all top players, I'll say. He won that, then went to the Masters, and of course Ronnie won the Masters again, the eighth Masters.
I think Ronnie just picks and chooses the tournaments he wants to work harder for. There's certain tournaments he just doesn't.
Do you think that's his competitive sort of spirit is on the wane then? You say he's picking the best tournaments he's going to be up for?
Yeah, you can't get up for everything. There are so many tournaments these days on the tournament calendar. You've got to prioritise a little bit, otherwise you'd just be flat burnt out. As simple as that, you'd be shattered. Emotionally, so you've got to prioritise tournaments that mean more to you than other ones might.
I presume do you commentate from the Alexander Palace?
No, we have done, but we're Chiswick now.
But it's some venue, right?
Oh yeah, well apparently I've never actually been there.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I thought you said you used to commentate. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're used to, but I've only started commentating on the Masters probably, guessing probably 7 or 8 years, I suppose, something like that. Right. I've always done the World Championships and the UK Championships and some of the others as well.
I presume it's not the same commentating when you're not actually in the venue.
No.
You're just doing it from a TV screen then, obviously.
I mean, everything we do for your sports, it's sort of HD, so you've got proper professional production booths and you can produce the sound properly and everything. Yeah. It's a fantastic setup there in Chiswick.
So Ronnie's won now 8 Masters, 8 UKs.
8 UKs.
Is he going to win an 8th World?
Would you like him to?
Would I like him to? Well, obviously not. But I mean,
it's going to be a struggle.
You think it's?
I think if he doesn't win it in the next 3 years, he might not. But you look at the way things pan out. Look at Kyren winning it. The only top 16 player he played, I think, was John Higgins, who was in and out of the top 16.
Sometimes you just win a couple of rounds. If you're there at the right time, if you're there. But
yeah.
I mean, he definitely would, because the fact that he's now being coached by Lee Walker, he's trying new things. He definitely still wants to be as good as he can be.
That's exactly it, you see, because that's what stopped with me. I've got no interest in working on, stuff, because I don't want to be one of nature's automatons.
What is that? What's an automaton?
Well, just a metronomic cue action and everything.
Some of these big words to be.
I beg pardon. I just don't want to be robotic. It's just not human nature to be robotic and do something like a piston movement every time.
Right.
Because it affects your mental, your natural mental health. Yeah. Because if you start doing that and you everything, because back in your day, you wanted to be the best in the world and you were willing to do whatever it took, and it was Steve Davis you had to overcome to be the best, and you did it. But you had this fierce killer instinct, and I think if you go too far along those lines, you lose compassion and empathy as a person.
Right.
And I don't, I want to go back to being a normal person. And I mean, Alan McManus promises me that will happen, but I don't think I've ever been a normal person. I don't think he realises that.
I do think that Ronnie, he wants to have the set of it. I mean,
Yeah, 888, yeah.
But I think I said in the World Snooker podcast that I think he will definitely win either the Saudi Arabian event that's going to come up soon, as we speak here today, or the Masters. I think he'll win definitely, because I think he's playing brilliant.
Oh yeah,
but in the last 2 tournaments he's come against Godong, who won 3 frames in a row without reply.
Do you think Ronnie's still got
and Hawkins did the same?
Do you think he's got the bottle that he had before? Does that change as you get older?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah,
it definitely does. It definitely does. But I think when the right time comes, I mean, against Godong in the Champions, he missed a green, or was it a pink, into this pocket that you think would never. But then I tend to think it was a wee bit rust because he hadn't played. He'd missed 3 tournaments. Maybe he's a bit match rusty. I don't know.
Off the table things. Yeah.
I mean, do you think when at his best he's still the best? I do.
Yes. I mean, if somebody such as yourself is asked the question, who do you think the greatest player of all time is, and you say Ronnie O'Sullivan, then you know it's right, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, that's a fact.
He won the Masters. He went on and won the Grand Prix as well straight after. So he was kind of on a roll. And then we had Judd Trump. Oh, what a shot!
Judgment.
We had Judd Trump win the German Masters. That's another great venue, right? The Tempodrome.
The Tempodrome. Yeah, we've qualified for that soon.
One of your favourites must be, right?
Yeah, I lived in Germany a couple of times. I lived in Berlin. I've lived in Vienna. Best place I've ever lived, Vienna. And I'll probably still be there today had Barry Hearn not taken snooker over.
Really?
Yeah. Best place I've ever lived.
Is there much snooker there?
Yeah, there's a chain of clubs, the Kur clubs, Kur 15 Reds.
I didn't notice that.
And
if I was in commentary, I would say careless. He should have came round and had
a
a look.
Yeah,
he should have came round and had a look.
Yeah, that's something I'd say. I'd probably say in commentary, I don't use the word careless very often, but if you know you're playing a safety shot and you can see from distance that black's going to go somewhere near the pocket, you've got to have a look at it.
Well, yeah, so it's just sheer
stupidity,
isn't it?
Yeah, you would, of course, sir. Oh, behind the green, big bounce.
But Judd, we'll see around the year. He's become a serial winner, right? It's just a winning machine.
Yeah, absolutely he is. He's so adaptable. Judd, when you watch him, he plays the game. I don't know how to describe the way Judd plays.
Well, it's a different game to Ronnie, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
He bullies the table, bullies the balls rather than Ronnie.
But do you know, when you analyse Judd and you think, crikey, do you know, he doesn't make that many mistakes.
No.
He looks like a player that's going to make mistakes, but he doesn't. And he's very, very creative with his safety game.
He finds the way he wins ugly now is it's almost the biggest compliment you can give him, rather than all the sort of fancy shots and big breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, the UK Championship that he won, obviously, we can go through that later. But I mean, some of the matches in the week he just didn't play well at all. But his match play would get
absolutely, yeah. But he's still got such bottle, you know. He finds clearance. That one he did against Mark Williams, in Saudi was just that was
incredible.
Poor Mark.
What's the best you've done at the German Masters?
I actually can't remember.
I beat Judd actually. My last year as a pro. I beat Judd there in the second round.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Crikey, there you go.
There's my claim to fame.
I didn't even know that, yeah. Well, I beat Judd in China once. We were 3-all and I won the match with 2 centuries. And I've beaten him in a couple of things. But
I knew that didn't pop, but I still went for it.
I mean, me and Judd have actually had some very close matches.
Right.
10-7s and 6-4s and things like that, 4-3 at the Welsh. I have some good matches with Judd, but he's one of those guys, though, that will keep punching. And he'll get the job done. He'll just keep forcing his game upon you. And if I've got a lead against Judd, I'm the sort of guy who'll just try and just coax yourself over the line, and that's no good against someone like Judd. You've got to go for it. You've got to have the belief in your game that you can knock in an 80 and a 90 and go for those long balls. Sometimes as a snooker player, there's the right shot and the wrong shot, and you've got to be attacking. You've just got to be good enough to play that type of game. It's changed so much, hasn't it, snooker? The strength in depth now. Welsh
Open, Gary Wilson. He's a
Yeah.
He's a strange character, isn't he?
He is.
He's won the Scottish Open twice.
Yeah.
He's won the Welsh Open, but not done that much in any other tournament.
No, I mean, I watched the Scottish Open. I was there. I think I had a bit of a run myself. I can't remember, but I was there for a while. And he kept winning matches 4-3.
Yeah.
And he should have lost at least a couple of those matches.
Right.
And of course, he gets to semi-finals, plays Zhao Weilong.
I played incredible.
Who pots, I think, a green, which means that Gary needs 3 snookers. He's celebrating. He's kind of like, he's over the moon.
Yeah.
He ends up losing.
I know.
And Gary wins. Fated to win.
There was one in, I think it was a Scottish one. I've seen him. He had he should have had a 147. Oh, he had the 147. He had a 1. Did he have a 147?
Oh, do you know? This is the thing. Now, if we
This
go
is the
back
thing.
to
I know we watch so many matches.
Well,
we forget everything, don't we?
If we go back to the times when there were 8 or 9 tournaments,
You can remember
you'd
every
remember
shot.
everything. But with so many competitions now, so many qualifying rounds, you just can't remember. I mean, if there's any of you younger players watching this, I mean, you wait till you're our age, 50 odd, you'll start forgetting everything. I mean, I'll turn my computer on sometimes to look at something, and I was just about to type it, and I think, what was I going to look at? I've forgotten. I do it all the time. Just, it's maddening, really.
He's someone that, as I say, is a quite intense character. I think temperament maybe.
It can be volatile.
Is not great all the time.
Elliot Slessor's like that as well. It can be volatile, but I think it's something that they're working on. I mean, they work with Chris Hendry sometimes. Elliot does.
Yeah. I suppose. I mean, any win in the circuit now is incredible, right?
Oh yeah.
But to win like the same tournament 2 years ago, i.e. the Scottish and the Welsh, I mean, it shows obviously. Maybe it's a comfort zone best of 7s. I don't know, the best of 7 format. I don't know the fact he hasn't.
It is for some. I mean, you need to start well, don't you? If you're not a quick starter, you'd probably be happy 1 or just get a foothold in the match.
Yeah, I must admit, I prefer the long ones, but
yeah, I think most of the top players would prefer, the bigger names prefer the top.
I was supposed to go
on matches.
Dear.
What cloth is on here, by the way?
Sorry?
Is this a number 10?
I have no idea.
Oh.
No, I'm just trying to bring colours at this minute. Players' Championship after that, Mark Allen.
Yeah.
Do you like the way his game's gone?
I can't understand it, because we've all struggled at times in matches. We try and get ourselves going. We always do it by speeding up and maybe taking a couple on.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes from slowing your game down.
No.
Does it really?
No,
you very rarely see players slowing down and getting back into the match.
I always say in commentary that there's no player in the world that doesn't benefit from picking up the pace a bit.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm reluctant to get out.
Oh,
that's a joke. I was reluctant to criticise anyone too much that was picking up the trophies he's been picking up the last 2 or 3 years. You can't say it's wrong, but I think the way he's playing. I think now is maybe he's suffering a little bit for the way he's played. Because I'm seeing the shots he's turning down, and he admitted it in the BBC studio during the UK. That
he lost in the semi-finals, and it was 33 seconds a shot because I was commentating on it and lost. But
that's not the way he played.
He's just started working with Lee Walker, and he has his own way of sighting the ball. Works with Steve Feeney and everything.
That long game's impressive.
So maybe Mark was trying to experiment or work out this new sort of Steve Feeney approach, and he was sort of at 6s and 7s, and he was just low on confidence. I don't know. It was a strange one.
I have to say, as a reviewer, because I remember working on it for ITV, it was probably the worst final I've ever watched.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was terrible.
Against Zhang Anda. It was probably the worst final I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
It wasn't good. No.
But at the end of the day, you win a trophy. So I mean, I've played in some shocking matches and won in my career, but that was a tough watch. That was
it was a tough watch. Yeah, absolutely. Both players would be disappointed with that one.
Oh, that was lovely. that was. You just hit one nice. You just think you get a little.
Alan made me smile. Manus, he says. I said, I won't do his accent.
Yeah.
He said the only thing I'm going to miss when I stop playing, he says, that sweet crisp strike of a ball, and you've hit one. And I'm sort of smiling. I thought, no, I'm not going to miss that. I don't think so.
Well, next the World Masters and the World Open were won by Ronnie and Judd, and then Williams wins. Williams goes and wins the Tour Championship.
Yeah. And didn't he play well? I've grown up with Mark as the way
he played against Ronnie in the final from 5-3 down.
Yeah. Well, you know what Mark's like temperamentally. He's tremendous.
He's got the greatest temperament that I've ever seen in any sport.
But you know, well, you'll remember Mark you won your seventh World Championship against him, didn't you? Win 18-11 or something? Mark back then was such an attacking player, and he had this very fast sort of cue action. And now when you watch Mark, he looks as though he sort of analysed snooker, and he plays well within himself, and he gets the best out of it. He doesn't push the boat out. I don't know if he can play some of the shots anymore that he used to play back in the day, but he's such a very, very, very clever player, isn't he?
But I mean, he's very aggressive in his shot choice.
Oh, he is.
When
absolutely.
He's playing well. I mean, that against Ronnie in the final, he went for everything.
Yeah, fundamentally he's a potter though, so he's always got that potter's eye, which hasn't left him. I think he also knows the way he got to play as well, and he's capable of playing that sort of attacking game. Yeah. But he's very clever with it. And I love the way he rolls balls.
Well, I mean, when he has a match up pressure ball, like say he's got that black off his spot, and he wants to roll it in dead weight. I mean, it has to get shivers down my spine.
Oh, it does, especially these days, because tables roll off a lot these days.
Really?
Oh my goodness, it's a big problem. Yeah, it's a big problem in our game now. You need to take Nick Faldo with you to help read the green.
You watch for say you might get a fine for that. I'm all right. I'm off the tour now. I can say that if I want. You can't.
I just tongue in cheek, but yeah, it is a problem. But I mean, look at what the fitters do. They're having to put up, multiple tables in a short space of time. I mean, it's not a criticism. It's not observation. It just happens every now and again, where you have a problem with the table. But you have an audience coming in and out, and a lot of these tables are put on sprung floors in basketball arenas and things like that. So it's never an ideal situation to put a table on a floor like that. What do you think of the tables we play on now compared to because you'd have started out on the BCEs and then you went to the aristocrats. What were your favourite tables?
I mean, I did like the Riley tables. I also like the BCEs. I think the cloths now are absolutely beautiful. Oh yeah. I mean, when I played that year and a half or so of, like, obviously coming back and trying to play they were so beautiful to play on. Yeah. And then I'd say to other players, God, how good is that table? And say, oh no, that was a bit slow, a bit heavy. I said, you kidding? Because obviously I'm not playing week in, week out on them. Yeah. From what I hear from players, what I've seen, the pocket sizes are a bit unpredictable as well.
Oh, very much so.
Because 1 minute saying in China they're so big, and then we got to the World Championship last year and they're all complaining it was too tight. So
yeah. Because every table fitter has their own idea of how tight the templates. You have these wooden templates and they fit into the pockets, and every fitter has their own idea of how tight those templates should fit in. And if you have a table fitter that thinks they should be really tightly fitted, those pockets will be blue murder. And you'll get another fitter that should be quite comfortably. And you could be talking 3 or 4 millimetres difference, and it make an enormous difference to how big or how tight the pockets will play. But then again, the conditions, the playing conditions, the atmospherics can also dictate.
So when you won your one frame at the World Championship first round, were the pockets tight?
Murderously tight. Do you know, I remember I was 4-2.
Did you when you lost, did you think this is a potential winner of the World Championship? When you
I did say to Kyren at the end, Kyren, I said, I've never seen you hit the ball as well.
Really?
I did say that to him.
When people ask me, who do you think of the 3 or 4 that are in with it, he wouldn't have been on that list.
Nor me. Do you know why though? I don't mean to disparage Kyren at all, but he doesn't stroke long pots in. He
likes to hear the ball hitting the leather.
That's the only reason. But Kyren, I massively rate because I've played him so many times, and I used to beat him nearly every time I played it up until a point. Yeah. And he's changed.
I think the last 3 or 4 years he's improved so much. Yeah. So much.
But there's a guy that had massive self-esteem when he was getting onto semis and quarters and tournaments and knocking on the door, winning them. He felt he belonged. Yeah. And I knew that in Kyren. I could see he felt he should be up there. Yeah. And that's why he's a great champion. I think that's one of the things is he has great belief in his own ability. That's why he's such a great player.
But yeah, I mean, you have to be honest. He didn't have the most difficult draw. But at the end of the day, that's not his fault. Though, exactly. No. All you can do is beat who is there.
John came back at him strongly. But John had that horrendous match with Mark Allen. It went all the way. He made that incredible clearance yet again. Yeah. So how much did that take out of poor John? But that's just it. And Jack Jones getting to the final. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's probably. I mean, Kyren winning the World Championship is the story of the final, and to win it was incredible. But Jack Jones is almost as big a story.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, he single-handedly just went through that, but that half of the draw. I actually thought I thought it was Judd's year to win it again.
Yeah.
But Judd was terrible against Jack Jones.
I thought Ronnie was going to win it that year, but
Yeah.
Stewart just wouldn't lie down. Ronnie threw everything at him. Stewart just stayed the same. I thought Stewart Bingham played fantastically well.
Judd was the championship, one of the biggest disappointments. His final session against Jack Jones, he was
because
awful.
Ronnie and Judd both lost in the quarterfinals, and all of a sudden, you know, it was wide open for some of them.
And then that's what I was saying before. If you can hang around until that last week and you're still there, you don't know who's going to be knocked out. You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know. I mean, if you have a bad session at the World Championships, it needs to be no worse than sort of 5-3 or 6-2 at the very worst in a long match. But you know, you have some players that have a certain style of play, and if they have a bad session, they could be whitewashed or just win one frame and then they're out of the match.
Can he beat the crucible curse, Kyren Wilson?
Well, there's no such thing as a crucible curse. It's created by poor performances or players putting pressure on themselves.
I think it was probably created by David Vine. I don't know, I might be wrong. So this season with the Championship League, Ali Carter, who's become a great player, who's become a sort of regular proper top 16, because he's a proper top 16 player, Ali Carter, all day long. I think his technique is there's not many better.
No, I've played Ali many times.
I'll tell you, I think he's got the best backswing in the game. I have to be careful I don't say backside, but I say backswing. I think the pace of his backswing is perfection, and it kind of helps him every shot he plays. How hard he wants to hit it. I love watching him hit balls.
For me, the greatest cueist is Neil Robertson, and I'll tell you why. Because when you bring the cue back, your fingers come off the cue like that.
Yeah.
His transition from those fingers coming off to coming back on is just.
Isn't it?
It's so good. It's absolute perfection. He's a wonderful cueist.
Have you ever done? Do you ever coach or anything?
No, I'd never want to. I'd have to be paid a lot of money because it's more intense than playing, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't because I don't really know the technical side of it. I mean, I've been with so many coaches and a lot of it goes over my head.
Yeah.
It goes over my head.
Well, you can analyse the naturalness out yourself if you're not careful, particularly about messing about with speeds of play, because we all have a natural way or a natural speed of play. And if you change your rhythm too much and it dictates that you're going to strike the ball 3 seconds after you naturally would strike the ball, you could be struggling.
After that Shanghai Masters, Judd again. I think the thing about Judd, I think the big thing about how because Ronnie I think won that 4 out of 5 years or maybe 5 out of 6 years.
Because it's an invitational event. Yeah,
9-2 he beat him in the final, the semi-final, the semis.
Oh crikey, what was it? It was
he beat him.
It was a hammering, wasn't it? I can't remember the score precisely. Yeah. It's an invitation event now, which is a great shame because I think it's such a wonderful place to go. Shanghai, been there many times. It's just a shame that there are only.
It's funny because that one, because I remember Kyren, it was his first big tournament as world champion. He lost 6-0. Yeah. And I thought, wow, is he like feeling it being world champion?
But then he bounced back.
Well, yeah, he's bounced back. He's won 2 tournaments, which.
I think he won Xi'an, didn't he? Because I was in Xi'an, and because it's the only decent run I've had this season. I think I got to last 16, and I had a good chat with Kyren, and he hadn't really practiced much because of commitments from being world champion.
But I think he enjoys being world champion, right?
Yeah, exactly. He will.
You've got to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look at Luca Brecel. I mean, goodness me.
He's fallen off a cliff.
Oh goodness, what a great player though. But what will happen to him now? Will he be anything like?
Well, I mean,
because once you lose confidence, it's
very frustrating for me to watch him as someone who's so talented, who's still in his 20s, who could still for the next 10, 15 years win so many tournaments, earn so much money, and who doesn't seem interested. I mean, I
know. It's almost like
everyone's got their own way of living their life and doing it, but at the end of the day, you're so good at something, why would you not?
It's almost as though he's achieved something, and the ultimate goal, won the world championship, right, I've done it now, that's it, I've done what I wanted to do. Yeah. And it's a strange one, isn't it?
He talks now, he wants to do Ironman and all this, and you're a snooker player, mate. I mean, I don't understand it, but as I say, if he's happy, he's happy. But I just think he's so good, I thought, oh God, why would you not give your career everything for the next 10 years and say, he's got talent to burn.
Oh yeah, he's got this long bridge. A cue sticks out half a mile, doesn't it?
And he's like sort of side on like that, isn't he?
Oh yeah. I mean, his weight's fluctuated massively. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Hopefully our chat's interesting because the snooker is absolute.
Well, I tell you, it's been very beneficial, Stephen, because I know more than ever now when I retire. I don't want to be playing this game for fun. I'll tell you now, it won't be any fun.
Did you play in the Saudi Masters?
No.
You didn't?
No, because it came straight off the back of Xi'an, and I knew we weren't going to be qualifying for it. We'd go straight there, and it's another thing, you know, when I retire, I don't think I'll ever want to fly again.
Really?
No, I've had enough of flying. I don't want to go anywhere. I love my life in Stroud. You know, it's in the Cotswolds. There's so many fantastic places to run and walk. Got so many good friends there. I just love my life there. But I'm quite a recluse when I go home from snooker tournament because as you know, you live your life in the public eye. Yeah. And you know, somebody who's like 53 in a few weeks. I just want to sort of have a quiet life.
But Judd, I mean, you see the clearance Judd made, and we talked about it against Mark. It was just, I mean, Mark's one red away from winning the tournament, winning £500,000.
Oh, exactly. It was a prize money difference as well.
Incredible clearance.
Great heavens, yeah. But then he bounced back and, you know, win something. That's just Mark Williams for you. I mean, there's nothing he
obviously talk about the World Championship going there. What do you think about that?
I remember when...
Are you in favour of staying at the Crucible or leaving?
I think you should try somewhere else, and if it doesn't work, go back. But how do you know if you don't try? If you don't experiment with another venue, it might work out and you might think, oh my goodness, I wish we'd have done this 10 years ago. We've gone here or there.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Masters was incredible at Wembley Conference Centre. And when it left you think, oh, is it ever going to be the same again? Now it's got Ali Pali, it's better than ever. Yeah. But I just think the Crucible, how can you replicate that?
Titles there,
because you said that, where you get tested in like no other venue.
I promise that the mistakes I made against Kyren, I said it in commentary, you'd never make anywhere else. And that's a fact. But where is anywhere else, though? You know, I know. Is the Crucible the only venue? Is it incomparable? Of course it's not.
Yeah, I just hope they don't sacrifice the atmosphere and everything.
Exactly.
I mean, if they go to Saudi, the winner might get £2 million, but 17 days with like hardly any crowds watching. Is it going to be the same thing?
This is the danger.
Crucible's full every session.
They should know that, or roughly know, how many spectators want to go and watch World Championship matches. Yeah. But of course it only holds about 920.
Yeah, because I mean Barry says he's got 3 or 4 or 5 times the amount of people want tickets but can't get them, so he needs to go bigger. But I think what those 4 or 5 times people want is the Crucible experience. Yeah. Yeah. Not to go somewhere, but so I don't know. I don't know, but listen, it's great that snooker's going to new territories.
Well, it's fantastic. You've got all these tournaments and you know.
Say for the players, there's never been the sort of rewards in tournaments. It's
exactly. When I turned pro, it was unthinkable that you'd have so many Chinese players, and you'd be going to places like Shanghai and Beijing. Yeah.
Neil Robertson winning the English Open.
Yeah.
Can you believe that someone like him would go so long, drop out at 16?
Well,
have to qualify.
All I'll say all I can say with Neil is, and I've said this about some of the Chinese players. When we grew up, we were part of an amateur circuit with some great players, some experienced players who knew the game inside out. You learnt the tactical side of the game. But if you're from China or Australia and you don't have that strength in depth of amateur snooker there, you've got no one to learn from. You do most of your learning on the tour. So for me, Neil is fantastic because he's a wonderful ball striker. He'll put you on the baulk cushion, but he doesn't really put you in difficult positions that often, like a Selby would or somebody like that, or John.
That's interesting.
Because I mean, I can't compare myself to Neil Robertson, can I? Yeah. But yeah, I've beaten him, I think 6 times out of 10 I've played him.
Really?
Oh yeah. And last time I played him, I beat him 4-0 in the Welsh, but this is when he was struggling.
Yeah.
I know that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just because of his safety game, his tactical game. When you lose confidence, it's all of a sudden your potting game goes. The most exacting part of the game is your potting, your break building. And if you're low on confidence and you're losing matches, if you take that from Neil, some of his bluntest potting ability and break building ability, you've got to say, you know, what have you got left to get back into matches with? Yeah. But I'm a massive fan of Neil.
I mean, he's another player that he's playing his best when he's a lot quicker. I think watching him some recent tournaments, he has slowed down, which I think he's... I mean,
it's 31 seconds a shot.
But he's admitted that he's trying to make himself more difficult to beat rather than, you know, first. Yeah. And that happens, I think, when he gets... I think if he gets back in the top 8, top 16, solidifies that, I think you'll see the old Neil Robertson back. But I don't know. Sometimes maybe it's like it's just trying too hard. I think.
Possibly.
Maybe, but yeah. Because I mean, Wu Yuza came back at him, didn't he, in the final?
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, and of course, he hadn't won for so long. It must have been quite testing for him. But I am a huge fan of Neil Robertson. He's, you know,
so am I. I
think he's a sort of a modern version of you in a way.
Well, to do that century break thing, 100 and 100 in a season,
103 centuries.
That's something that I'd have been trying to do.
It was an amazing thing because the TV cameras were following him all towards the dressing room.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be there, and I was sort of talking to him, and they sort of filmed it because it was like a really natural sort of off-the-cuff interview in a way.
No, that's definitely something I would have liked to have achieved.
Oh, yeah. But, of course, you couldn't really because there were hardly any tournaments by comparison to now.
Well,
you know,
kind of you to say, Dominic. It's kind of you to say.
But I haven't looked at your rate of century breaks, which you can find out. And, I mean, some players make a century every sort of 17 frames.
Right.
You, I don't know how, probably 6 or 7 or 8, I don't know. Per frame. Oh, look at that.
Then Mark Selby wins the British Open. Was another, Neil winning after a while. Mark Selby's. What do you think? Why has he gone quite? Because I think he's one of the greatest players the game's ever seen.
And me, I don't know
four
whether
world
it's
titles.
All I'll say is I think to some players the game comes easy, and to some players they have to work hard and practice hard.
Yeah,
like Ding's another one.
His semi-final against Mark Allen, and the final against John Higgins.
Yeah.
I think when he plays that, he is unplayable.
I'm glad you said that. I said this in commentary when Mark Selby's at his best, he doesn't get beaten.
O'Sullivan as well.
Yeah, precisely so.
If they play their best against each other, I think Selby wins.
Well,
more than Ronnie.
We're in accord there because I've said this in commentary that when Mark Selby's at his best, he's pretty much unbeatable. Because I've likened him to Novak Djokovic. I said when Djokovic is at his best, he doesn't get beaten. Yeah. And I think the same with Mark Selby.
Because his safety game is like no other, and he scores so heavily when he's at his best.
He can actually out-safety John Higgins. He's the greatest. But Mark Selby was a former world 8-ball pool champion, and of course we know how much tactics.
No, let's not talk about.
So I don't know whether he gets a lot of it from that.
But no, I do. I think, and that's what makes me even that he's done nothing since.
Yeah.
This year,
you get players, like your Judds and your Ronnies. The game comes easy to them, and I think there are certain players that always have to work on the game, always technically. That's what the hour's in.
Because I thought when people used to say, when I won 7 world titles, who's going to break it? I thought it was Selby that would break it. In the beginning, when he'd won 4, I thought he's going to break my record.
I thought John would win more than 4, but he's lost in a few finals, so he could have done. You won all yours within the space of 10 years, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't suppose you'll ever forget how you must have felt when you realised your cue was broken.
Gosh. My first thought was, well, that's my career over.
Yeah.
Because I had the same sort of crappy cue for my whole career. And it was a terrible cue.
Well, I did hit about 3 or 4 shots at once in Blackpool, and it's very springy, wasn't it? I've actually got one of them at home.
Connoisseur.
A maple one, exactly like, could have been made the day after yours was made. It's exactly the same. The butt actually is about 30 mil, but it flares out to 30 mil. If you hold it there, it's about 28.
Yeah. Oh no, it was so thin, and that was one of
because very slim. It's about 30.
Because I've got small hands now, but when I was 13, 14, when I got it, it was obviously tiny.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. It was like I could, get a good grip on it.
Yeah, and it's very slim, and it's very slim through the butt section.
Yeah.
And over the bridge, most cues that are made today are about 14.5 mil, 12 inches down from the ferrule. The connoisseur I've got was probably like yours, about 13.5.
Yeah.
And it's whippy. It's got this great big screw-in thick ferrule on it, which it's way, it's way as much of a threatening bit, and that alone can make the cue whippy.
Zhao Guodong won in Wuhan, been a pro for so long.
Yeah.
Like Zhang Anda.
Yeah.
Done nothing, and
but
then all of a sudden,
solid play. It just shows, doesn't it? You're just looking for those 2 or 3 extra percentage points in your game, and it can work wonders for you.
Yeah.
And this is what players don't understand when they're struggling. They think the whole game's collapsed, but it's just 2 or 3%.
Yeah.
And if they can find it, they'll start winning matches 5-3 instead of losing them. It makes a massive difference.
I always thought because you sometimes see a lot of the Chinese players, you'll see one do well, get to the semis or the final, and then you won't see them for months after that. But they all sort of have their little time. And I thought that was the same with Guodong, but since then, he beat Ronnie, he got to the final of the Champions, got beat by Mark.
Yeah.
Williams. And I think he got to the semi-final of one before, so as you say, I thought I played him when he was about 13 or 14. I thought he was going to be the next one after Ding.
Yeah.
I thought he was really talented, but as I say, it's taken him so long to sort of break through.
I mean, I love Ding from a technical point of view. I mean, but his pause now is all different.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, he came back. He's won the International Open this year.
Yeah.
But power is his weakness now. Playing with power, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because he pauses at the keyboard.
He pauses going through.
But now, sometimes there's hardly any pause at the back, and it's all there are inconsistencies there.
He's like me.
It's almost like the yips.
He's very much similar to what I would like. It's all like this.
Yeah.
And even some shots, he kind of goes.
Yeah.
Like, on the way through, which is...
Yes, exactly. There's no consistency with his cueing.
But there's no doubt, when in around the black and the black hair and that,
his break control
is...
reminds me of Steve Davis's. He's very close to the object ball. This will be a delicate cannon. Oh, butchered it.
Do you use that word in commentary? Butchered? It's quite a common word.
Never ever use that word. I've never used it in commentary, ever, that word. But people use all these words, they copy them. There's all these Americanisms. There's no such thing as goose pimples anymore, it's goosebumps. It's an American word.
Yeah, Williams, again, win the Champion of Champions. I mean, how long can these class of 92 keep going on winning tournaments?
Well, this is it. I mean, this is what's different now. Players are so good technically.
Yeah.
If you go back to before Steve Davis and before yourself, you had people like, Tony Knowleses and all that, and people like that, they were technically very inept. And the other thing was, they lived their life off the table very differently. They weren't fit. They didn't care too much about fitness. They would like parties, they liked the smoke, they drank. It was a different sort of mindset.
It's rolled up.
Yeah, I did. My ping did the same thing. So we'll never really know how long you can play for and win tournaments because it's changing all the time.
Who do you think will be the first to drop outside the top 16?
Out those
John, Ronnie or Mark? Put you on the spot.
I'm going to say John because he dropped out during the World Championships and got back in again.
Right.
And but some of that's based on the amount that they're practicing and want to practice.
Yeah, well, Mark doesn't practice.
No,
he does always practice at tournaments.
Well, do you remember Quinton Ham? He used to say that, and it's absolute nonsense.
You don't believe Mark?
He's another one who'll prioritise the big ones. I don't think you can play that well under pressure so consistently if you're not putting some time in.
But
no matter how good your mindset is, and his is the best, it's as good as anybody's. Can never be.
Well, I mean, I keep saying this. How he's been on the channel 3 times now, and I tend to believe. I don't see him, but what he does do when he's at a tournament, he's never off the practice table. When he's actually at the venue.
I'm like that. Yeah.
Because he was playing a tournament, and actually Lee asked him. He says, "Come on, when are you going to come and practice?" And Mark said, "No." So.
Well, right, okay, yeah. I'm the same. I don't make appointments. I mean, I'll never practice with Rob Milkins.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to wake up one morning and think, oh no, I said I'll practice with Milkins today, and I just don't want to. So I don't do that anymore.
Were you? Did you like to practice, or were you more of a solo practicer?
I like to practice solo.
Yeah.
Because that way I know I can choose my routines, but I know my focus and concentration will be there. Sometimes if you practice the wrong person,
right,
you can't focus and concentrate. And sometimes
I could
be on a 50 break, and I'm counting in my head 54, but they're not counting it. So I say, when I break down or play a safety, how much was that? I say 46. It's all the time.
I never count my own breaks, so I used to rely on them knowing
really?
them. Yeah.
Crikey, I wish I'd known that.
Yeah. I used to play practice all the time. You know Billy Snadden.
Oh, Bill, yeah.
Yeah, but and sometimes I'd be clearing up with about 3 reds left, and he'd be off at the toilet while I was clearing up.
Oh no! Really? That's disrespectful.
So we get back to the UK. Obviously, Judd wins the UK. How many Triple Crowns do you think he can win now? Because obviously that's his second. He's won 2 Masters. He's only won 1 World.
That's not Judd, is it? I mean, when you look at Judd as a player and what he's achieved and what he's capable of, it's a bit like Neil. 1 World. It's not enough for somebody.
Do you think he's that bothered?
That good? But
I get the impression Judd's not that bothered about records in Triple Crowns. He just wants to win as many tournaments as he can.
That's definitely true.
No matter what tournament it is.
That is definitely true. I think with Judd, he just wants to win, beat everybody he plays. That's just how he is as a person, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he wants to sort of thinking about the record books or that sort of thing. Like he wants the record of winning the most ranking to it, I think, but I don't think he cares what tournament it is.
No, I think you're right there. I think with Judd, obviously he wants more than one world, doesn't he? Because if he doesn't win more than one world, you look back on, there'll be a time in his life where he'll look back on it and think, crikey, I've only won one world, sort of thing. But he could win two or three.
We're not putting in a frame. I'm just putting the colours on the spots because otherwise this frame could go on forever. Nasty frame it is.
Well, they've all been dreadful. But this is the thing though. If you practice with Rob Milkins or some natural players, you'll end up having a chat, while you're playing, and you just can't concentrate.
Well, there's a rarity. Me getting a double.
Yeah, especially at the bar. I'll never forget once in Shanghai, he bought me a Brandy Alexander cocktail. Might have been actually, I think it was a year I won it. So that's a long time ago. Oh, good effort. Another double, Stephen. There you go.
Yeah.
And
no, the year won it. Well, it wouldn't have been after you. It wouldn't have been after you won because I wouldn't be there.
2007. When did you retire?
If it wasn't, but I wouldn't have been there back at the final. If I'd have lost before
that, I'd have been final. It wasn't the final. I just ended up going on to win it.
You were drinking Brandy Alexander's
on
the way to the tournament.
My favourite cocktail, but very few places do them.
What's in a Brandy Alexander? Brandy, obviously.
I was going to say vodka. Well, actually, brandy, creme de cacao. And it's like a milkshake. Ooh. Oh, it's beautiful.
Sounds vile.
Oh no, it's absolutely like a
well, I'm not a massive brandy, but I prefer whiskey. So.
It's a huge hair on the cue ball.
Right, come on, clear up.
Must have hit the browns. I've got like 4 foot more screw back. But,
and then the last tournament of the season was just last week. Tom Ford winning the shootout.
Well, I was commentating on that. It was incredible.
The poor Liam missing that red.
Oh, I know, and it was such a simple red.
I say poor Liam. My savage commentator would say, well, that's unforgivable. But you kind of think, I've played some events with shot clocks. The Matchroom League used to be like that. And I hate the shot clock. Yeah. I wasn't a slow player. But I don't know, it just put me on edge. I didn't like it. So I think every credit to whoever wins that.
Yeah, it's a lovely story because Tom lost his sponsor, Brian Todd.
That's right, yeah.
So it was lovely that he won that, I thought.
And I think he gets in the Champions from that.
Oh my goodness. So. Which pocket was I going for there? Right. What a difference it's made. 30,000...
Black ball game.
£30,000 difference in prize money. Placing the champion of champions. Poor Liam.
What hands are chalking?
Yeah, of course it wasn't. You did. I
done a little move.
I want to have a look at the rushes. You've got that on camera. That's hand switching. Oh, come on. Oh.
I'm saying it's not a bad shot going for the cut, but obviously if you rattle it and leave it, you look a bit silly.
Yeah.
Or if you miss it altogether.
Well, I'll try double. Heaps of check sides. Kill the cue ball as much as I can. Oh, for goodness sake.
Spotted both. Dominic, thanks very much for that.
Oh, no.
Great to have your insight. No, I've won. You've gone enough. You've gone enough. I've won it. That was really good.